Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. Merrimack has become a flashpoint of New Hampshire politics lately, with Homeland Security planning to open an ICE detention center in a local warehouse. It's not in the 2nd Congressional District, but one of the elected officials helping to lead the charge against the facility is Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander, who joins us this morning in studio. Thanks for coming in for Close Up, Congresswoman.
Thanks for having me, Adam. Great to be with you.
So I think the question a lot of people, particularly in Merrimack, are asking is this local opposition enough? Can the people who want to stop this in Merrimack stop the federal government from doing this?
Look, Adam, you know, this is a major decision that was proceeding with very little transparency. Basic questions that people at the town level, at the state level, at the federal level have been asking were not being answered. But this is really not just a Merrimack issue. This is a New Hampshire issue. We took a survey of people across our state to hear their thoughts on this half-baked and I think very dangerous plan to commandeer an industrial warehouse and use it to detain human beings. And we heard from more than 13,000 people across our state. I've sat with seniors in the North Country, in Randolph Town Hall, with high school students in Franklin, last night in Nashua, with people of all ages who are raising real concerns about this. You know, we are living in a moment where, sadly, you know, ICE and federal law enforcement at DHS are not upholding the basic standards that we see local police officers and law enforcement across our state upholding every day. Public safety, at the end of the day, depends on public trust. And that public trust is impossible without professionalism, transparency, and accountability. And that is just not happening with Kristi Noem at the helm of DHS.
So sitting there a couple of weeks ago in that same seat was Governor Kelly Ayotte, and she said basically it's not her job to try and help Homeland Security find a better location or any kind of help whatsoever in where they want to put this thing. What do you feel on that front? You know, should you be pushing for a different location? Why can't opposition in this case also include a solution?
Look, governing is a team sport. We've all got to bring our energy and tools to the table and work together, and that's the best of governing in New Hampshire. What we've seen across the country is this is not a partisan issue. Most Americans, overwhelmingly, people across the state and our country want to see our immigration laws enforced, and they want to see them enforced with professionalism, with transparency, and with accountability. We've heard from Republicans and Democrats alike across the country who are stepping up and saying, look, these plans to commandeer industrial warehouses are going to be bad for taxpayers. We know in the case of the Merrimack facility, this is going to cost taxpayers more than $500,000 this year alone. And there are genuine concerns about how ICE is operating and the ways in which they are undermining basic public safety. And so this is why we are seeing opposition on a bipartisan basis. And I think it's important now, and I encourage all of your viewers to fill out our survey, to join us in speaking out about this, because this is an administration that has thwarted congressional oversight at every turn, and it's just not right. This is not how our government is supposed to work.
So opposition without an alternate solution, it sounds like maybe the real goal here for Democrats isn't stopping the facility, it's stopping deportations altogether.
Look, this is not a partisan issue, Adam. This is a concern that has been raised by Republicans and Democrats across the country. You know, Senator Roger Wicker in the state of Mississippi raised concerns with DHS about the same basic plan in his state to commandeer an industrial warehouse, and he raised the same arguments that we're hearing here in New Hampshire, that this is going to be a huge hit to the taxpayers, and there are genuine concerns about safety. We've heard it from Republican state representatives here in New Hampshire. This is not a partisan issue. Overwhelmingly, we want to see our laws enforced with accountability and with professionalism, and that is what we're pressing for.
Do you want, like other Democrats, to abolish ICE?
I believe that, look, I served at the Justice Department for years. I believe in a system of law and order. I believe in the rule of law. I believe, and I see it every day in this job, working with law enforcement at the local level, at the state level. We want to live in a country where we've got the laws enforced responsibly, including our immigration laws. This is core to who we are. But under this administration, under Kristi Noem, And under the leadership of ICE and CBP, what we are seeing is unlike anything we've seen in my lifetime and perhaps in our history. Basic professional standards, reasonable use of force policies being completely upended, warrantless searches in neighborhoods across this country, American citizens, a nurse for the VA at a critical access nurse, Alex Preddy, shot dead in broad daylight by masked agents. This is not who we are as Americans, and this is not keeping our community safer. It's just not. And that is why you're seeing on a bipartisan basis a real outcry and real concern about how this administration is proceeding with immigration enforcement.
Sounds like you're making the case for abolition there. Do you want to abolish, yes or no?
Adam, I'm not making a case for abolition. I'm making a case for responsible enforcement of our laws, for basic professional standards, for transparency, and for accountability. That is what public safety depends on. I have no higher priority than keeping the people of New Hampshire safe, and that safety depends on trust, and that trust is impossible when you don't see the professionalism, the transparency and accountability that the people of this state and our country need and deserve.
Let's shift to a major issue, another one that you've been involved in. It was recently reported that the U.S. DOJ failed to indict you and other lawmakers who were involved in that Refuse Illegal Orders video that came out last year. How quickly did this escalate from you refusing to do an interview with investigators to them then bringing this to a grand jury?
Well, Adam, look, just to step back for a minute, what happened here was I joined together with 5 of my colleagues who all served our country, who we've all sworn oaths to the Constitution. We've all received the training that you get in the military. We decided as a country after the Second World War that we wanted to be a country where our military, at the end of the day, does not blindly obey orders. Our military follows the law. And this cornerstone principle has made us who we are as Americans. This principle is an uncontroversial bedrock principle. We came together to repeat this principle at a moment in our country when I believe we need moral clarity and legal clarity now more than ever before. And the response to this, this is a principle, I should just add, that Attorney General Pam Bondi repeated in a brief to the United States Supreme Court. It's a principle that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has repeated again and again. It wasn't a crime when they said it, and certainly wasn't a crime when we said it. And the idea that the president, in response to this, would become so unglued that he called for us to be hanged. He incited violence against us, which had an immediate and acute impact on me and my colleagues. We had bomb threats to our office here in New Hampshire, a steady stream of death threats. But that's not where it ended. The president directed the Justice Department to target us. And we're not alone. Journalists across this country have been targeted by a weaponized Justice Department. The chairman of the Federal Reserve is on the receiving end of these same attacks, which are truly dangerous, I believe, because, look, I served at the Justice Department. We want to see the department enforcing the law, going after dangerous criminals, keeping our communities safe. This weaponization is a waste of taxpayer dollars, and it's an outrageous abuse of power.
Setting aside the idea that this could be a crime, because clearly a grand jury doesn't agree, Republicans argue that the real goal here was to sow dissension in the ranks and not necessarily to draw the line at refuse illegal orders, but try to muddy the waters essentially and get troops to defy President Trump.
That's just not true. That's not the case. I'm a lawmaker, and it is my job to write laws and to be clear about what the laws say. This principle of law that we repeated is a principle of law in our Uniform Code of Military Justice. It's an important one for the moment. It's an important one for the future. It's been important to our past as a country. And look, we've got checks and balances in this country, and they're being tested in ways we've never seen before. Grand juries, under the Fifth Amendment to our Constitution, are set up as, not to be the ultimate guardrail of justice. Overwhelmingly, grand jurors trust the case that the government is making, and that's why in nearly 99% of cases, grand juries issue indictments when the government seeks it. In this case, according to news reports, this was a unanimous rejection of a case that the government attempted to bring against us. And I believe that speaks to just how outrageous this abuse of power was.
You noted the dire consequences in terms of the death threats. You had security over the Thanksgiving holiday. If you had it to do over again, would you do it exactly the same way?
Adam, I would, because this is my job, and I'm going to keep doing my job. It's my job, and I'm doing this job. I'm honored to be serving this state I love so much in a moment of real challenge and of real importance for our country. You know, this is a time when we need to be clear, when we need to all be stepping up and speaking out, and that is what I will do every day that I am honored to serve the state in Congress.
All right, Congresswoman Goodlander, thanks for joining us on Close Up. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me.